1-2, 1-2. And welcome inside the Wells Fargo Center for Philadelphia Flyers hockey. It's Flyers game day, brought to you by Betway. Jason Myrtetus, Brian Smith, Flyers Oilers tonight, and what is it called? Retro Thursday?
Throwback Thursday. The last one. I think we might have one more where you just kind of clean up everything else. This is the last decade-based one, 2010s.
2010.
Throwing it all the way back.
Yeah, we're going to go through the 2010s poster that they put out today.
Yep.
There's an omission on it.
There is.
I will bring that up, but it's the Oilers, Connor McDavid, and Leon Draisaitl in the house tonight, and one of the true spectacles of sport, number 97, Connor McDavid. How about this, Brian? 51 games this year, 52. No, that's not his point total. That's his assist total. 41 goals as well, 93 points. 51 games, 93 points. That is insane.
So he's got 51 games. He has at least a point in 46 of them. 46 of the 51. He's had 5 games this year without a point. Only once has he gone consecutive games without a point. So it is staggering. It really is.
49 points per 82 pace.
Yep. And it's something to watch. I mean, you look at these numbers, and it's just the numbers we don't see anymore. We used to see them all the time, 80s and stuff like that. But these are junior numbers.
Yeah.
It's amazing what he's been able to accomplish this year.
From an individual perspective, it's incredible. Can you believe he's been in the league now? This is his 8th season.
That bothers me. But then we are also throwing it back to the 2010s tonight. So put that on the list.
2015-16 season, his first year as a 19-year-old. In 45 games, he had 48 points, and he only played 45 games because of that collision in Edmonton, I believe, with Brandon Manning. Or was that here? That was here.
Yeah, it was here. I think you're right. It was here. And,
his first trip to Philadelphia.
Yeah. And the whole fallout with that. Like, it looked innocuous enough at the time. And I guess they went to Edmonton later, and Manning said something that made everybody think he did it on purpose. Yeah, who knows? But, it seems like ancient history, doesn't it? But, it's astonishing. I don't know what's more astonishing is that McDavid is doing this sort of thing, or despite the fact that they're doing it, they're still in the second wild card spot. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense why you should be able to, be that close to not being in a playoff spot with a player like that. But here.
Yeah, and they got another great one too, in Leon Draisaitl, who was a points machine as well. Nikita Kucherov is tracking him down now for the second spot in the league. He's only a point back. Draisaitl, 76 points on the season. And Draisaitl, I mean, just unbelievable numbers. You go, well, he plays with McDavid. He just sits there and hands him the puck in the D zone and lets McDavid go coast to coast. That's not the case. Some people actually believe that Draisaitl may be the better overall player all zones.
I mean, it's certainly pick your poison, right? No matter who you're gonna pick here. And I mean, you just look at what the effect that it has on the rest of the offense. The Flyers' leading scorer, obviously, Travis Konecny. He's got 49 points on the year. There are 4 Oilers that are considerably ahead of that, at least 11 points ahead of that. 4 different players that are at 60 points or above. And, the Flyers and the Islanders, Oilers, coincidentally, have given up the same amount of goals this season, 168. But the Oilers have scored 50 more goals than the Flyers have.
In about 60 games.
Yeah,
or 50 games.
Yeah, 50 games. So it's the offense is amazing, and the defense is amazing.
Yeah.
It's like, how can you not score this? We were talking with the Oilers broadcaster yesterday over at Voorhees watching practice, and he said that those guys, they will give you some grade A scoring chances in the game. So hopefully that's something the Flyers can take advantage of tonight. They're trying to get into the zone, get down low below the hash marks, and make the Oilers competitive and try to capitalize that.
How many points did you say TK has this year?
49.
So he's got 49 points. Connor McDavid this year, coincidentally, Bri, has on the power play, just power play points. Like we talked about, power play and can't put this team on the power play. He's got 16 power play goals and 31 power play assists, 2 points back of TK's total. 31.8% is what they click on the power play. On the season, there were 32 yesterday. 31.8. The second team is the Ottawa Senators at 27, so almost 5 full percentage points ahead of number 2. By the way, the Flyers click at half of what they click at, 15.8%.
And just some of the other underlying numbers that are amazing. I mean, goals are goals, obviously. They're hard to score, but anybody can shoot. I mean, Connor McDavid has 212 shots on goals.
His highest shooting percentage, too, of his career.
Travis Konecny leads the Flyers in that category at 150. I mean, it's crazy how, in order, obviously, to score the goals, you've got to, have a good offensive output, but to get in and get those kind of shooting opportunities, you also have to be a good offensive team just to getting through the neutral zone. And McDavid's at 212, and Zach Hyman is at 192. Then you get more mortal. Dreisaitl's at 148 down there where Konecny is, but 3 of these top guys that have all these shots are shooting at a 19% scoring percentage. McDavid, Draisaitl, and Nugent Hopkins, and then you have a couple of outliers as well. But the fact that your main offensive guys are all having that kind of season. I mean, Zach Hyman 13.5%. Most teams would love that. For this team, it's a dog.
Yeah. McDavid last year when he had 123 points had a 14% shooting percentage. This year it's at 19.3.
So, it's the numbers that this team puts out almost don't look real, but they obviously are. And the Flyers obviously are going to have to deal with it tonight. And yesterday it seemed like, or last game out, yesterday, night before in Detroit. I mean, the Red Wings did a decent job with McDavid, but everybody else gets in there.
Yeah.
So it's almost a pick your poison type thing, like what Washington's had for something.
The Oilers play-by-play guy, we were talking about before the game, Tim Saunders, and he was saying this is a team that loves to come out and punch you immediately. So in one of the games, I think it may have been San Jose or Anaheim, they scored 2 goals in the first minute. They love to just put you on your heels right out from the drop of the puck in the game. If you can survive that, then you can find your way into a game. That's kind of what Detroit did. But we'll see. I mean, obviously, staying out of the box is paramount. Moving your feet against this team is paramount, because I had Louis Brusk on Flyers Daily in today's episode with a little preview tonight that I kicked with him yesterday at the Flyers practice when he was over there. And he said the big key against McDavid, to mitigate what he's able to do is don't let him get wound up.
Yeah.
Get to him as soon as he gets the puck.
Yeah. Yep.
Try and slow him down.
Time and space, and that was a big issue for the Flyers in their first period against the Islanders, was time and space. And we've talked about it before too when Toronto was here. Just not looking at a team like Edmonton and thinking to yourself, "Oh my God, it's Connor McDavid." Just not letting yourself get to the point where it's like, how are we going to deal with this guy? And then you don't remember your fundamentals when you see him out there on the ice. It's just a matter of I guess they know obviously what's out there, but trying to just play him like you play him regardless of who he is, and don't make those mistakes by trying to overplay. Especially when you're talking about taking penalties. That's part of why they're so successful in the power plays. And you got a guy like David that's so fast, he draws penalties because people are trying to slow him down. You just got to pick your battles.
Yeah, and I'm talking to the Oilers broadcast too. I asked specifically about what they like to do on the power play. And he said they call it pond hockey. And they just kind of riff out there. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, another first overall pick, when he's playing with guys like McDavid and Draisaitl, elite players, he's a solid player, Nugent-Hopkins. Mm-hmm. But he was saying when RNH is out there with those guys, he's a guy that can read off of great players very well. And that makes that power play even more potent, as if it couldn't be potent enough with McDavid and Draisaitl. Just the key to stay out of the box and defense, mind your gaps tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can do.
You don't end up as a beam.
I don't know if this is a switch or not, but it looks like Hyman's going to play down with Draisaitl.
Mm-hmm. Is that Kane with him too?
Draisaitl, Kane, and Hyman, yeah. And then they're going to move Ryan up with David and Holloway. So.
They're 11-7 tonight too.
Yeah, that probably has something to do with it.
Well, I hear the other thing too is your buddy Jay, the head coach Jay Wycroft, likes to play.
Former Foot General Jay Wycroft
likes to play the deception game in warm up by trying to throw the other team off with combinations. So the broadcaster goes to me and goes, I don't even tweet out lines because a lot of it's just smokescreen stuff. So I don't know if that'll be the case that night.
Yeah.
I think we'll be with
you need the smoke screen when you've got commentary.
Yeah, that's for a coach's edification.
I should also point out the assistant GM of this team is former Asheville Smoke head coach Keith Gretzky.
Wow. So I did not know that. And I saw Kenny Holland walking around having a nice meal down in the press dining room. Everyday man. Looking good down there. And he's got a team that we're going to see Skinner tonight. We're not going to see Jack Campbell tonight. I think Carter and Skinner played against each other growing up, but Carter and Jack Campbell are very close. But we'll see Skinner tonight. He's been good for him. And this is a team, again, more Edmonton Oiler analyst insider info, is that this is the best road stretch they've had since 1987. And we remember that year. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't do anything that year, did they?
I don't even remember any players from that team. Just got to go to Toronto and go to the Hockey Hall of Fame. They're all there.
Yeah, they're all. Yeah, you can see all of them. No, I was looking at
Ness.
I was looking at how this season has lined up for them, Edmonton wise, because you recall they had a stretch. But the Flyers and the Oilers have something in common. They both lost 10 games in a row this year.
Yeah.
They had that stretch there where things were going really bad, and they were out of a playoff spot despite all these goals that they were scoring. But then they're able to turn it around. Since the turn of the calendar year, they're 9-2-2. They're 8-1 in their last 9. And again, the way that things shake out for the Western Conference, a little bit different than the East. They have more extended road trips, 4-5 game trips, stuff like that, where they go out and
get out of their time zone.
Get out of the time zone, take care of a bunch of things at a time, and then they come back and stuff like that. And they went through kind of a weird stretch maybe for them where it was 2 on the road, 2 at home, 2 on the road, 1 at home, 2 on the road. And that's when things were a little bit bumpy for them. And once they got away, after the first of the year, 4-game road trip, 3-1. Came back home, 1 2 more. Vancouver's barely a road trip for them, but they were able to get into a rhythm at that point. And this is the second game of a 4-game roadie for them. They're going to go back to Canada after this one. They got Ottawa and Montreal before they go back home. And then the Flyers will be there next week, so they're going to get a taste of them twice here in the next span of 2 weeks or so. And again, it'll be not a measuring stick, but it'll just a chance to see how some of these Flyers perform against obviously the best offensive league.
Let's take a time out here on the pregame show. It is Flyers Game Day. It's Brian Smith. I'm Jason Myrtetus. Brought to you by Betway. We're back after this on the Flyers Broadcast Network. Back live at the East Food Hall, Wells Fargo Center. Flyers Oilers, game 2 of a 4-game homestand. Flyers will be here Saturday afternoon hockey. What is it, 12:30 Saturday?
12:30 Saturday.
1 o'clock Sunday?
1 o'clock Sunday, yep.
All right, so we'll see the Predators on Saturday.
Pregame in here on Sunday, that's for sure, right?
Oh, man, that'll be a great sport.
We got green beer here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking green beer at St. Patty's Day.
No, yeah, that's exactly what I thought, too. No, it's green beer. And, it's going to be a great atmosphere, obviously, here on Sunday. We get ready for that, so we're looking forward to it.
You know what Coates's favorite beer is? It's called Any. Any beer.
Cold beer?
Yeah. Cold beer, free beer, any beer.
Yeah. The open one. Yes, I like that.
That's a full one. Not for long. It's the Flyers and the Edmonton Oilers. And we're talking about McDavid, and he's won 2 games without a goal one time this season. We know the numbers. We just went through them. Travis Neckley is a guy who is leading the Flyers in points, Brian. They need him to get back in the scoring column as well. It's now been 5 games without a point for TK. And this is one where they need him to provide some offense, work his way back to the middle of the ice, get around the net a little bit more, and create as well. And we'll see if he's able to do that. I don't think he's played poorly, but he just hasn't been able to find the back of the net. I want that to end as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and John Tortorella spoke to that a little bit today about how it's a concern when the scorers isn't scoring, but I think he's close. I think he's had some opportunities, and when he was lights out there for that 10-game stretch where he had 20 points, he probably had some goals where some pucks went in that shouldn't have, and he got the bounces, and maybe that's dried up a little bit for him. So he's certainly generating still. I mean, there was. Torts referred to it as almost offense from Monday. It's the thing that's so frustrating sometimes when you do everything right except for that last play that puts the puck over the line. There were 2 occasions where TK had James Van Riemsdyk set up for what would have been tap-in goals, and it didn't happen for whatever reason. One of them, Torts talked about it today, was talking to JVR about it. The first one, he didn't see it coming. The second one, he just got jammed and couldn't get a stick to it. So they're generating things like that. Again, it's kind of, to me, a new start here coming out after the break. So I'm not looking at it necessarily as a 10-game thing, more of a 1-game thing. But hopefully he can take advantage of what is definitely a suspect defense here tonight. And get a few in the bag here, getting ready to go into this road trip.
And again, Edmonton will run the 11-7 tonight. So look for a lot of offensive combination.
They do that a lot, Yeah, and that what I was about to say was,
I think for a team with no D, they wouldn't run that very well.
Well, for a lot of teams that causes problems when you have to do that. Like you lose guys on the bench, number one, forward wise, and then it sets you up sometimes for too many men on the ice penalties because guys don't always know who's going for who. The Flyers had to do it that last game on that road trip in Winnipeg, and they handled it pretty well, I thought. They kept the wingers together and rotated the centers through, and that's probably the way to do it so that doesn't happen. But Edmonton seems to have a lot of experience playing like this, so that may not be a factor at all.
Yeah. We're going to get back to the conversation about this game in a couple minutes, but I'm showing the 2010's Throwback Thursday poster to our audience here. Now, the guys that are on the poster, Brian, tell me who should be on it that maybe isn't. We got up in the top left, we've got the outdoor game in 2012 at Citizens Bank Bar. Braden Shen's first goal, right?
Yep, first career goal.
At the top right, we have Wayne Simmons in his last game against the Pittsburgh Penguins in the Stadium Series at Lincoln Financial Field. We've got James Van Riemsdyk in the number 25, not the 21. We've got Scott Hartman, the number 19. We've got Jake Voracek with a pretty well-coiffed beard, I must say. Shane Gostisbehere. We have a shot of Simone Gagne and the celebration of the game-winning goal, the 4th goal against the Boston Bruins in 2010 to come all the way back from down 3-0 and down 3-0 in Game 7. We have Chris Pronger, who played in the first couple of years of the decade. Sean Couturier, Claude Giroux, of course, and Kimmo Timonen. The only goalie there's 2 goalies in the picture. Henrik Lundqvist at the top on Schenner's goal, and then Tuukka Rask. And Bergeron's in the picture in the background to rub a little salt in that one. But No Flyers goaltender there. If you're putting a goaltender from the 2010, it's got to be Mace,
You
right?
certainly had several to choose from, did you not?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a rotation around here.
Yeah,
You could have
I
gone
mean,
with Cal Pickard or
yeah.
Mike McKenna.
I honestly, we can
Alex Lyon.
just draw a picture of Mike McKenna and just put it on there and send it to him.
Yeah.
No, I obviously if you're going to include a goalie, it was Mace. The Flyers weren't able to win a playoff series with Steve Mason.
After Game 7, though, against
they
the
did
Rangers.
get to Game 7, but I always felt that Mace didn't get the credit he deserved for his time here because if you'll recall, leading up to that, the Flyers goalie situation was less than stable, and and there's you could do a whole show on what led to this or whatever. They didn't want to wait for Sergei Bobrovsky.
Well, Bob didn't want to wait because they signed Briz.
Well, that's what I mean. They got impatient with him, and then they signed Briz that huge number, and that's obviously not going to leave a window open for Bob, so he wanted to move on. The Flyers missed out on his Vezina years. But once all that settled down, after the lockout, and they bought Briz out, Steve Mason came in, and for 3 years, goaltending was not the problem in Philadelphia. It was a very controversy-free stretch from Steve Mason when he was here. The biggest controversy that you would have would just be that anytime Michael Neuvirth stepped his foot on the ice, he got hurt.
Yeah.
But for Mason, I thought he was extremely consistent, and it was again. You didn't have people talking about the Flyers goaltending situation all the time while he was here. Just unfortunately, he didn't have the success that he would have wanted to. And then, as the time went on, and the Flyers at the time, this is pre-Carter, they wanted to have more or less a platoon, for lack of a better term. They didn't want to have a guy playing 65 games a year, and Steve Mason didn't want to be in that situation. He wanted to be the guy that was going to play 50 or 60 games a year, so he decided to move on, and unfortunately that didn't end all that well for him in terms of longevity. So
he played 13 games.
Played 13 games, got a concussion, and then was about done because he got traded to Montreal and then bought out by the Canadiens the same day, and now he's retired. He's coaching minor hockey in Ontario, and I'm sure doing very well for himself. But it was one of those situations where he, I guess, maybe saw himself, as maybe a little more than he actually was.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he was called a trophy winner with Columbus, but I'm not sure he ever fully reached that form. But again, while he was here,
he had 1 year where he did here in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
He had a 928 save.
Yeah, while he was here, he was reliable, he was consistent, and really the only reason, again, the Flyers, I think, moved on from him is because he wanted to have a bigger role, and that's not where Ron Hextall wanted to go. So, he's, to me, if I got to name one goalie from the 2010s, it's probably him.
Yeah, that 1 year he had a 928 save percentage in 51 games, a record of 18, 18, and 11.
And that's exactly it.
Insane.
That's why it doesn't jump out at you, because just the time that he was here, the Flyers didn't have a ton in terms of wins and losses.
All right, we're coming back. One more segment here to go. We'll take a look at the countdown to face-off with Tim Saunders, Steve Coates, and all the first period action between the Flyers and the Oilers. Lines coming up as well. You're listening to Flyers Game Day, brought to you by Betway on the Flyers Broadcast Network.
But what I'm remembering now is that 15-16 year, they put Newby in for a couple of the playoff games with Washington.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yep.
All right. Back live at the East Food Hall. It's the Flyers and the Edmonton Oilers tonight as the Flyers in Game 2 of this 4-game homestand. We'll wrap it up this weekend, back-to-back games on Saturday and Sunday. And tonight, not any lineup changes tonight, Bri, but here's the line combination. Lawton, Hayes, and Tippett. Cates, Van Riemsdyk, and Konechny. Cates and Lawton have the task. They're going to be the two, right?
Yeah.
With McDavid. Yep. Then Frost will be with Joel Farabee and Wade Allison. Patrick Brown centering Nick Delarier and Kiefer Bellows. Provorov and York together. That's chalk. Sanheim and Ristolainen were put together in the last game. Together again tonight. And Sealer and D'Angelo. And it's Carter Hart, the pretty much resident of Edmonton, Sherwood Park, Alberta, will face the Edmonton Oilers tonight.
About 30 minutes east of there, I believe.
Yeah,
Last time I looked it up. Yeah. Not too far away.
Yeah. So he's got that tough test. I think one of the elements of the game that's interesting, too, is, Carter's been really good early in games when the Flyers have been huge.
Yes.
And based on that intel we got from the Oilers broadcast, they like to besiege teams. So he comes out of the room ready to go, mentally sharp, dialed into the game before he has a chance to play his way into the game. That could be a big factor tonight as the Flyers look to get a win over this Edmonton team. It's just steaming along the road.
If Carter can be a speed bump early, that would be a huge
How about a
help.
wall?
Yeah, a wall will work. Just slow them down and not let them jump out in front of you, because again, this team has 50 more goals. Talked about them in the Flyers do this. 192 to 163 against. But despite that huge discrepancy, plus 29 goal differential, they're only outscoring their opponents by 6 in the second period. So it's obvious that they slow down a little bit there. Third period's a little bit bigger, but I think a lot of that might be something else, whatever. They're plus 12 in the third, a plus 12 in the first, though, is huge. That's a big number for the first period. Flyers are minus 10 in the first and plus 4 in the second. So hopefully, again, if Carter can come out and stand tall in the early going, that gives the Flyers a chance to take a shot at him in the middle part of the game, later in that first period, into that second period. And again, they're just trying to make Edmonton defend. If they can make Edmonton defend more than they're used to, then that'll bode well for them.
Yeah, and Edmonton leads the league with an average of 3.76 goals per game. But to your point, one of the problems is they are in the NHL, and maybe the reason why they are where they are in the standings is they give up the 13th most amount of goals per game.
Yeah, I mean,
3.2.
They're giving up the same exact number of goals as the Flyers are.
Yeah.
Obviously, we see how much of a problem that causes for Philadelphia. So right now, it's Edmonton is living and dying by its offense, and teams are going to beat them by exploiting their defense.
And they average 33 shots per game, which is 8th in the NHL. Carter's a high-volume goaltender. We know about the numbers in those games where he sees a lot of pucks, and could see a lot tonight.
And real quick, I know we're running low on time, but 5-on-5, Edmonton's only got a plus 9 goal differential. Yeah. It's the power play. That's 52 power play.
That's why they are where they are in the standings.
52 5-on-4. I mean, they've got 3 more 5-on-3s, a couple of 6-on-5s in there. So yeah, I mean, that's why. That's those are the two keys. Just try to get them to defend and stay out of that box.
Yeah, and not lose sight of the 87. He's a pretty good hockey player and can take over a game. All right, we got a pretty good former hockey player upstairs in the booth, and his partner, Tim Saunders. They're going to deliver the countdown to face-off.
I thought you were going to say his partner.
Yeah, that would be fun. See, this is why we have you here, to insert a post joke like that, a postscript joke. But no, Tim Saunders, he coached the countdown to face-off, and then all the first period action between the Flyers and the Edmonton Oilers. That is coming up right after this. You can listen to Flyers Game Day, brought to you by Betway on the Flyers Broadcast Network.